Welcome to the XP Team USA podcast. We're digging the plugs and pinpointing the topics you want to hear.
And now, here's your hosts, Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen.
This show is brought to you by XP Metal Detectors. XP Metal Detectors is a high-end, innovative metal detector company with great machines and great pinpointers. For more information, go to xpmetaldetectors.com. For a dealer near you, try a Google search or go to xpdeus-usa.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of XP Team USA Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Kimball, coming to you from Central Oklahoma, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Grant Hansen, coming to you from New Jersey. How's the weather over there, Grant?
It's getting warmer. I mean, it still teases down into the 40s, but that's fine with me. It's going to be in the 60s this weekend. So the opportunities to get out and detect are upon us. I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah. It's been really nice over here. It's been a little bit stormy here and there, and it tried to get a little bit cold, but it warmed up really quick. So it's just really nice.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to go out detecting last weekend, and I wound up finding the biggest silver coin I've ever found. It was a 1910 Barber $50. I was shocked.
That'd be really cool to find. I have not found a Barber yet. I have found two Walking Liberty $50. No Barbers, though.
Yeah, the only other Barbers I've found have been dimes. But actually, I have found a Barber quarter or two. But the half was a welcome surprise. I was very excited.
Yeah, I still haven't found a Barber dime or quarter or anything.
Huh, interesting. I mean, it's definitely in the time period from where you're from. So yeah. I'm sure they'll turn up at some point.
Yeah, I'll find one eventually.
Yeah.
Well, we got a great show for everybody today. We got Casey Oberreuter with Detect the Heartland Metal Detecting Group, and we also have Steve Blankenship with Omega Mills. He makes the Relic Elite pouches. We will be giving a couple of those away today on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to speak to both these gentlemen. I know Casey's Detect the Heartland Metal Detecting Group has exploded over the past couple of years. They're hosting a really big rally coming up that you're actually going to, so I'm very excited to hear about that.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I've personally been using the Omega Mills pouches for the past few years, and they're sturdy. They stand the test of time, so I just love them. So it's nice to have the opportunity to speak to the person who is behind those.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you know, pay attention to the interviews and in between, because we've got a lot of contests going on. We're going to announce the winner of our XP coil giveaway, courtesy of Brian Harvey and the Detector's Den. And we're also going to be giving away a few Omega Mills pouches, and we'll give you instructions on how to enter when we ask you the question.
Right. And what we're going to do, we're going to give you two chances to win. So we're going to ask you two questions, one at the beginning of the show and one at the end of the show. All you got to do is answer one of the questions and send it to us by PM. You can get on our Facebook news page and answer it that way, or individually. You can go to Grant Hansen's Facebook page or mine and answer the questions, and we'll draw the winner and we'll announce it next show.
Yep. We just want to try to make it easy for you guys to enter. So again, you can either PM it to the XP Team USA news page or just send me or Dave a PM, and we'll record it.
Yes, and we will let you know who wins on the next show. And on the next show, we'll be talking to Dean Ricker, who makes the dust covers for the XP Deus controllers, and he will be giving a couple of those away too.
Yeah, those are popular items, so I would definitely stay tuned to our next show for your chance to win one of those. And speaking of giveaways, Sonia Harshman is hosting yet another coil giveaway thanks to MetalDetector.com. So just hop on to our Team USA Facebook page and you'll see all the details on how to enter.
Man, springtime right now is a great time for contests. We got a ton of them coming.
It really is. I mean, and good luck and congratulations to everybody who won so far. I mean, these are great prizes.
Oh, yeah. Not only do we just give away a coil with Sonia Harshman's contest that she was hosting from XPMetalDetectorsAmerica.com, but we're giving away our coil today with with Brian Harvey from Detector's Den. Also, Sonia Harshman is giving away another coil right now at another contest going on our Facebook group. So check that out.
Yeah, it seems like each month we have at least one opportunity, maybe more, to win a great coil. So pretty exciting. And I just wanted to remind everybody to check out our YouTube channel, XP Team USA. We've recently released a new video, which is discovering the lost town. R.C. Dunn and Lenny Quellen go through an old mine that they've discovered and find some great stuff. And there's also some pro tips from Gary Blackwell on searching for large, deep targets. Really, really good video, really educational. I definitely recommend you check it out.
Right. Very, very good videos.
Yeah, and we also have some shorter videos by our XP team members that are good for little breaks here and there. If you just want to catch up on what we're finding, definitely check that out as well.
Yeah, and they're awesome. Not too long, and they're always cool to watch. They got some cool finds.
Yep.
All right, let's get on with the first question for an Omega Mills Relic Elite pouch. These things are sturdy, tough, best pouches you can get. They even have a little spot where you can put your pinpointer. They got pockets in there where you can keep your little containers for your silver and everything. Great pouches. All right, first question is, in our newest feature video on YouTube, RC and Lynn discover an old coal town. In one section, they mention how dangerous mining was. On the screen is an article in a death at Enterprise. What is the name of the miner who lost his life?
That is a really good question. Not too difficult once you watch it, but a really good question. And a reminder just to PM your answer to either our XP Team USA news page or just directly to me or Dave.
Right. And remember, you don't have to answer both questions. Just answer one question for one chance to win. If you want to answer both questions, then you have two chances to win. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us here on Spreaker. And now we'll be back with Steve Blankenship with Omega Mills Pouches.
All right.
This segment is brought to you by Omega Mill Pouches, the official digging pouch of XP Team USA. If you're looking for a rugged, hunt-tested, washable pouch, look no further than Omega Mill. Get on eBay and search Omega Mill Pouches. That's OMEGAMILL.
We'd like to welcome Steve Blankenship to our show. Steve is the creator of Omega Mills Pouches, which many of our XP Team USA and podcast listeners use and love. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. And as you may know, I've been using the Omega Mills pouch for quite a few years now. I was looking for something with a mesh bottom, and I discovered it, and it seemed to be the perfect pouch for me. So can you tell us, what's the origin story behind Omega Mills? You know, I know your history goes back quite a bit.
It does go back quite a bit. Actually, 1990, I was going to go to Alaska on a trip and do some hiking and fishing and stuff. And I had done those Frostline kits before, and I was in like a Costco or someplace, and I saw this sewing machine, and I thought, I'm going to pick that up and start making my own stuff for this trip to Alaska. So I did that, and then it wasn't long after the trip, maybe a couple of years later, I was interested in this metal detecting stuff because a friend of mine had a compass, and I was looking at whites, so I picked up a white 6000, which goes way back, and that thing was heavy, and it had 4C batteries, I think. And I made a case for it, so it folds up in a case, and I can put it in my truck and just go. And the thing started acting up one day, so I looked up a dealer in San Rafael, and he happened to Jimmy Sierra. So I walked in his office and told him I had problems with my machine, and first thing he said to me was, "Hey, where'd you get that case?" And it started from there. I walked out with the Goldmaster, and he wanted me to do a little case for the Goldmaster where you can chest mount it, and that guy kept me busy from day one. I had to go get an industrial sewing machine not long after that. So I was working with Jimmy solid for a long time till the 90s. And I'm 65 and retired. So I knew I was going to retire. And Jimmy's business, that was toward the tail end. And so I decided to start the logo Omega Mill, and I got the .com all ready and stuff. And then I went through some things and had to retire. So I started Omega Mill through through the eBay, and it's been kind of going off ever since.
Your pouches are widely used by metal detectorists, but you mentioned the military too. How are the men and women in uniform utilizing Omega Mill's pouches or products?
Well, they don't use my pouch. I currently work with George Lesky, or he sells his digging tools to an EOD unit in the Air Force. So we've gotten orders once in a while, Afghanistan orders probably for the last 8 years or so, here and there for his digging shovel, M85. And recently that's picked up. Coyote only has been going to the Air Force, I believe possibly the Marine Corps. During the 90s, I made my own backpack because I did a lot of hiking and stuff, and it was Camelback compatible. And I would go to trade shows in Reno, and I would come across the Camelback booth. I ran across a guy who did military sales. He was an interesting character named Omar, and he saw my work, and he actually encouraged me, hey, you got to contact the Navy SEALs. And I thought the guy was crazy. And going home, I couldn't get out of my mind. I thought Navy SEALs, I'd like to swim. So I actually designed a pack that you can swim underwater with. It's Camelback compatible, and they had this material back in those days called saddlecloth. It was wonderful. It wouldn't make any sound. It was just jet black. The company that makes them is long gone. So I got a hold of their center in San Diego and got a hold of their R&D department. And through a course of time, I actually got a small order, and it went to SEAL Team 1 in the mid-90s. So that's where I learned to do mil-spec construction, and I kept that since. And nothing ever happened past that, and I kind of thought, man, it's a good thing nothing ever came out of that, because I really underpriced the packs, and they took a long time to make. But it was quite exciting to get an order like that, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is cool. So where did the name Omega Mills come from?
I guess Alpha and Omega. I chose Omega itself, and you have to really search the web for any names anymore. So it was kind of a combination of that. And I had the artwork already. The value of OmegaMill.com is worth about $2,000 now, and it sure wasn't back then. It's just the way things are with the web anymore. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want those really long names that people are not going to remember, like buy the super duper backpacks of your choice.com. Who's going to remember anything like that? So part of marketing, you had to come up with a good name and a good logo, and it's worked out ever since.
Yeah, that's great. And how did you get started in the hobby of metal detecting?
Well, again, that was a friend of mine had the Compass, and I got interested and got the 6000. And through Jimmy Sierra, I got the Goldmaster. And those gold machines back then were manual balance. So you walk 5 feet, pump it, and you had the ground balance the thing. It was a pain. It was a double system on the top to balance it, coarse and fine. And you walk another 5 feet, and you had to balance it. And the machines nowadays are just light years compared to what we used to have. The wireless technology, and particularly the weight, they're so light. I don't have XP machine, but the new machines now they're so different.
Yeah, coming from where you did with your history, I'm sure it makes you appreciate the technology and, like you said, the weight even more than somebody just coming into the hobby right now.
Yeah.
So what kind of detecting do you prefer? Do you like to get on the farm fields, old home sites? I know you're out in California, maybe some gold prospecting.
Yeah, I would like to do the gold prospecting, that's for sure. Of course, there's a lot of private property, and you have to do some research where to go. Nevada's a little more open with that. Rye Patch is a good area, but you wonder just how many people are going over it. But with all these recent rains, it's just a new ball game with material being exposed. And every once in a while, you hear stories of somebody making a pretty nice find of a gold nugget with a detector. Mm-hmm. And somebody knows what they're doing, because I tell you, some of these big nuggets, they would give an overload signal. And if you're in an area where a prospecting area, you may walk by and think, oh, that's just junk iron down there. But if you start digging, which happened to a guy a few years ago, he found a 5-pound gold nugget with a detector, and his machine read overload. And that situation, it doesn't matter what machine you're using, there's a knowledge and persistence of, hey, I got to dig this. This may be something.
Yeah, I always tell myself I may never find a buried chest of treasure, because if I'm on a small property that's, and it's a private home and I get an overload, I may not dig it because I don't want to destroy their yard.
Yeah. But didn't they used to bury coins in mason jars in those days in that area?
I've heard the stories, but I've never come across them. I haven't heard of anyone else either. But I find plenty of mason jar lids, though.
So what are some of your more notable metal detecting finds?
Well, a recent one, I went to an old park in Oakland, and I found a little Mattel truck. And it was kind of personal to me because I found a Land Cruiser, and I used to own an FJ40. I thought that was so cool. It was pretty special to find an old beat-up Land Cruiser buried in the ground that still survived, and I used to drive one. That's one of them. Another time I was in a path at a house in Pleasant Hill that used to be an army base or something, and I started coming across 2 Rosies, a war nickel, and I found a dog tag, and then a really cool button for an armored division World War II. That was a special find, and it was just a little area in somebody's backyard. You just never know. And probably my best one is I was water hunting, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to top this one. I was water hunting in Lake Tahoe, and it was a nice summer day, and I just love water hunting. And I was out there, and my wife's in the car, and I noticed these 2 guys kind of out of place walking toward me, and who are these guys? And over to my side was this kid approaching me, and he was about, 9, 10 years old. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together. These guys were chasing the kid. So I said to the kid, hey, are these guys after you? Are you lost? And he goes, yeah, I need help. So he saw me metal detecting, and he thought I was a safe person to go to. And so, hey, you don't want to mess around with metal detector people. We carry digging tools, sticks, and all kinds of stuff. So they saw me, and I grabbed the phone right away, and they wandered off. And then I had my wife come over, and we started talking to this kid, and he was actually from Israel. He was on vacation with his father and his 2 brothers. So we took him to the car, and I called 911 right away. And the gal on the phone said, oh, he just got reported missing 20 minutes ago. Just stay where you are. So his father came by, and his 2 brothers came by, and they were pretty neat. It was a special experience. That little boy, he spoke perfect English, and he spoke Hebrew, very well educated, and he had just blue eyes. His name was Gala, and I would imagine he's probably somewhere in Israel right now, the IDF or whatever. So it's hard to top that story.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. I'm glad you were there for him.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Steve Blankenship right after this. XP has introduced its new ORX machine, a high-end machine at a mid-range price. The ORX has 4 factory preset programs, 2 gold, 2 coins, also 2 user programs. The ORX comes with a high-frequency coil and is compatible with the X35 coils. The ORX is now available in the USA. And we're back with Steve Blankenship.
So as I understand it, when you're not looking for buried treasure, you enjoy stargazing for celestial treasures. Can you tell us about your interest in astronomy?
Yeah, I have an 8-inch astrograph, and I really got into astronomy maybe 2 years ago. And I love looking for the deep space objects and looking in the sky at night. I really like that. And it's been so cloudy lately, haven't had much of a chance, and hopefully we'll have some clear weather. You see the nice stuff in the summertime with the planets lining up and the Sagittarius star clouds, and the core of the Milky Way is toward the other end of the sky, and you can really see stuff at that time of the year. This time of the year, you can see Orion and Pleiades pretty good, and we're switching from the winter constellations to the summer constellations.
Yeah, it's not something I've ever tried before. I'll have to. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Hey, I tell you, it's a little bit kind of like metal detecting, because metal detecting, you want to get the coil to find the smallest target, and astronomy, you need eyepieces to find the small targets. And then eyepieces can be darn expensive.
Yeah, most hobbies are.
Yeah.
So you're quite involved with the Christian community, and you have authored a few stories. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes, I've been writing for a few years. I'd like to get something published this year. You can read my stories, thekingstore.com. I like to write Christian stories, inspirational ones, and hopefully I'll get a book published soon, which will be called King's Door is Open, and then work on another one after that. During the holidays, I did one with the wise men. I've always been intrigued by the wise men, so I wanted to do a story about them. So I wrote it through the eyes of one of the servants through the wise men, and it came out really good, really good. so the meaning comes out.
Well, good luck. I hope it gets published.
Thanks.
So you told us about some of the great things you found detecting and some of the things you like to find or look for when you're stargazing. What is on your bucket list right now, whether it's detecting related or astronomy related?
Oh, that's a good question. I've just been taking kind of day by day. That's a good question. Kind of living day by day. A couple of years ago, maybe almost 2 years to this day, it was last St. Patrick's Day. I actually had brain surgery. I was in the hospital and they were taking out a cyst in my head. And going through something like that kind of changes you. So you kind of take it day by day. That was a great big surprise. I wasn't expecting that. I had a cyst growing in my head and it started to affect my vision and it was pressing against my pituitary gland. And one day it just started leaking and I was on the road with my grandson and my wife. We were in East LA, not a good place to be. And I started having this horrible headache. I took some aspirin and my energy level just dropped, came back. And then I had a really severe attack. And I was in ICU for a few days over this. And then they discovered I had a cyst in my head. So I did some research and went to UCSF. It's a good thing I did. And they were able to remove that. They went through my nose to get it. And I've been fine ever since. And interesting enough, ever since I had that removed, it's like I had a really clear head. And that's when my interest in astronomy increased, my interest in Bible study increased. I just thought differently. And the doctor said I've had that thing since I was birthed, and I just suddenly decided to act up.
I'm glad it's all okay now. And like you said, it actually had a positive effect.
Yeah, it's quite an experience being brought into an operating room, pictures of your head all over the wall. There was, I found out later that I had 11 people work on me, and you don't expect that in life. You know, life can change on you just any moment. But knowing the Lord, I felt at peace laying on the operating table, and no, just get it over with, please. And they knocked me out, and when you have an operation, you don't have any sense of time. And I woke up, and it felt like somebody just whacked me in the nose, and I kept asking the nurses, is it over with? It's over with. And it took some time to recover, but I got over that.
So you were talking about before doing some traveling and doing some metal detecting. Where all do you like to travel to?
I love the Southwest, Arizona, maybe an area to move years to come. I don't know. I typically go to Nevada a few times a year. Last May, we went to Peru. My wife is from Peru, and we actually went to Lima and all the way to Arequipa, which is a beautiful city in southern Peru. They don't do any metal detecting in Arequipa, but I've been to Peru before, and I started to notice that the interest in metal detecting, as well as astronomy, has been picking up in Peru. They actually have a dealer in Flores, and I did not see that before. The dealer carries macro products and a few other of the European things, but that was not there before. So it's good to see that.
So if there was one place anywhere that you could metal detect that's always been off limits, where would you detect?
Oh, hands down, Route 66. Just walk to the whole Route 66 and just hands down that one. All the old hotels, abandoned hotels, and pick up a road sign. There's your overload signal right there. You walk into one of the stores and you see an old Route 66 sign, $1,000. Good grief. That would be the awesome trip there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a good stretch of Route 66, right? Pretty close to me.
Yeah.
Go through Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it sounds like a good road trip, that's for sure. So, Steve, thanks so much for joining us tonight. If we wanted to tell our listeners how they can go about finding an Omega Mill pouch, where should we send them?
Well, you can do OmegaMill.com, which goes to my eBay site. I also have it on Amazon. Right now, my stock is a little bit low because I'm working on orders for wholesaler dealers and this military stuff with George Lesky. He makes awesome tools, by the way, Predator tools.
Yes, he does.
You can't beat that.
We've had him on here not too long ago.
Yeah, it's just awesome. And both of us get copied once in a while, but copycats and people don't do a very good job at it.
Yeah.
But you can't beat the quality of stuff like that. And so my inventory is down a little bit now, but it'll pick up. And then I'm going to get a dedicated OmegaMill.com site instead of going through eBay and Amazon, because the fees have gotten higher and higher, especially the shipping rates. The shipping rates have really starting to climb recently. So that's something that business-wise, you have to watch your costs. So shipping costs nowadays, wow.
All right. Well, it was great having you on here, and we'll love to have you on here again sometime.
Yeah, maybe later this summer when I do some water shallow water hunting, I can come up with stuff finally.
Yeah.
Make some good finds.
Yeah, I think that'll be nice and timely, too, for this summer when most of us will have the opportunity to get in the water a little bit.
Yeah, I think people miss a lot of things on shallow water hunting. There's another fellow back east. He did that on this show, and gosh, he was finding the old coins. He hit a sweet spot, really finding the stuff down there in the gravel. And it's been kind of well preserved. You wouldn't expect to find things like that, shallow water hunting, but wow, I think people miss that a lot. And you have to do a research where people used to be in the old days. Where I'm at in California, all those places been covered over with concrete and blacktop and this and that, and it's hard to find those really old, authentic places. And I try to do research on the satellite, through the Google thing, and it's got covered up. And then a lot of the old ballparks have been scraped, recirculated, and who knows. I'm going to go visit my daughter later this month, and she lives in Monterey, and there's this old ballpark that I just been anxious to go to with the, the kind with the circular backfields with the ballparks and they're all rusty. And she used to be right across from Fort Ord with World War II base. I'm thinking, there's got to be a lot of walkers and mercs in there. I just can't wait.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get some nice silvers over there.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Water hunting with Relic Elite pouches is really good too, because it's got the mesh bottom and it doesn't collect the water. It just lets it all run out.
Yeah.
And it's a very sturdy pouch. You can just hose it off and clean it.
Yep.
I've got a Surf Elite. I may redesign that with zippers instead of Velcro. I may do that this year. But it's great you guys using that pouch and it's working out for you for a long time. It's great to hear that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to make cheap stuff that falls apart. No, I'm not one of those guys. No.
Definitely very durable pouches. Like I said, I've been using mine 4 or 5 years now. Still looks brand new. Everything works perfect on it, and I don't even think there's a thread out of place on that thing.
Right.
Hey, I actually have a customer, I think Las Vegas. Every time I come out with a new color, he has to order it. He's got more than I do. They're in such demand. I hardly keep them here myself. I just have a couple myself, but as soon as I make them, they go out.
All right. Well, yeah, it was great talking to you, and we'll get you back on again sometime, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Check us out online at xpdeus-usa.com.
Are needing the highest quality digging tool for metal detecting, then check out Predator Tools. Their digging tools are made from chromoly 4130 and heat treated and tempered to ensure the highest quality product. Predator Tools are made in the USA and are also used in the United States military. All of their tools carry a 5-year warranty and are proven to be the toughest out there. So check out Predator Tools at predatortools.com. We'd like to welcome Casey Oberreuter to our show. Casey is an avid metal detectorist from Iowa, and he helps manage the Detect the Heartland Metal Detecting Group. Welcome to the show, Casey.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Good to be here.
Yeah, welcome, and then thanks for joining us. If you can take a moment, please tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, your family life, work, etc., just so that our listeners can get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, sure, definitely. I live, like you said, in Iowa. I'm down in Muscatine, southeast Iowa. Lived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa most of my life. Moved down here just recently, and have a wife for 10 plus years. I don't know how many now. And a daughter, 7-year-old, and both of them like to participate with me in the detecting hobby and enjoy it. And just really passionate about the hobby. And I work at Harbor Freight Tools as a store manager here in town, and that's what brought me down to Muscatine.
Yeah, so what's it like detecting in Iowa? What kind of coins and relics do you find out there?
Quite a few mercury dimes, of course, like most places. Some barber dimes mixed in, and barber quarters, that type of things. With the field hunts, you can find some of the older stuff, large cents, and along those lines, where they get a little bit older, where the structures are far gone, and they're now fields. But generally focus on the older homes and do pretty well as far as silver, and not real old, but old enough to have fun with for sure. And
when you detect, do you stick to Iowa, or do you ever travel to go to other states or other countries? That's one of the many fun things about beginning the Detecting the Heartland group, is meeting people really all across
the U.S., and I would love to hunt with each and every one of them across the U.S., but I have been lucky enough to detect in Kentucky and Illinois and Indiana, Minnesota, all around the Midwest kind of with some of our members, and it's been a really good time. And that's one of my favorite things about the hobby is just meeting so many great people via the hobby.
How did you get started in this great hobby?
Believe it or not, my dad, I went detecting with him. He had a garage sale detector. It didn't work real well at all. We went out and we literally found nothing until one memorial penny in a park. So we literally found nothing, but I fell in love with the hobby, even though just the thrill of having the chance to find something was really fun. So from there on, and then my wife was a big history buff, and we started watching the show Diggers, and we got really involved with that show. And sooner or later, I bought her a detector for a Christmas present, and I ended up using it more than she did, and became addicted real quickly.
Mm-hmm. So does she ever detect with you, or is she? It was kind of a passing fad for her?
No, she definitely enjoys it. She's not lucky enough to have any days off during the week to kind of go. That's kind of what I tend to do. Is if I have a day off during the week, I'll go by myself or with a friend detecting. But she just generally has weekends off, and there's a lot of things going on usually on the weekends. And between her knee kind of bothering her a little bit too, she doesn't go near as much as I do, but she definitely loves the hobby and enjoys doing it whenever we can.
That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So since that memorial penny, what have been some of your favorite finds to date?
Oh boy, there's many of them. I would say my favorite finds have nothing to do with value. They're all to do with returning the items to maybe the owner who lost it or a family member of the person that lost it. So I'd say my favorite find, try to not to make it too long of a story, but I was detecting an old church site, and the church had moved into Norway, Iowa, into town from a gravel road. And it's just been a vacant lot ever since, just grass and trees. And it was my first year detecting, and I was out there with a friend of mine. And my very first hole, the very first signal of the day, I pulled out a gold ring, and it was just a massive gold ring, like a men's wedding ring. And my first ring I'd ever found, and I was super pumped. And once we got it all cleaned off, there was initials on the inside with the date of 9506. And we thought, oh man, nobody's been out here for 50 years. It can't be 2006. So we ended up figuring out it was 1906. And down the road, I contacted the church, which had moved a couple times, and they were able to look back in their old marriage certificates and records and found the date, and it matched perfectly with the couple's, the initials that were inside matched the people's names perfectly. So I said, can they contact a living member of their family by chance? And long story short, they found a relative, and I returned it to the grandson of the gentleman that lost it. And the crazy part about it is I knew the grandson. I actually went to homecoming with his daughter years and years ago. So it was absolutely crazy, but it's a really cool story, and I just love being able to return stuff to where it belongs.
Yeah, that's great that you were able to find out that information. I've actually found a copper wedding band from around the same era, and I've come up short searching for initials and wedding dates and all that kind of stuff. So that's great that you were able to make that match.
Yeah, thank you. It's a lot of fun.
What are you hoping to find? What's your top of your bucket list right now?
Oh boy, many things, but I would say the top thing, I would say probably any sort of trench art from any of the wars, really. I just think it's a priceless item that's unique and one of a kind, and just such history and a story behind whoever made it, what the circumstances were, just kind of would be amazing to find, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about Detecting the Heartland Metal Detecting Group? I know it's been growing pretty fast. What's the history behind it?
Yeah. It's been a little over 5 years, I think it is now, that we started it. I started it when we were in Cedar Rapids, and there wasn't a very active Facebook detecting group around the Cedar Rapids area. There was Iowa, Illinois Treasure Hunters, which is an awesome group, but there was nowhere real local to Cedar Rapids. So that's what it started as, just a local group, and it grew so fast. It initially didn't grow real fast. We got I think it was 300 members after a year was all. So it kind of started off slow, but then it just slowly, I don't know if word got around, but people spread the word and people started joining. And then we started out as Eastern Iowa Diggers, actually, and then we decided to change the name to expand it a little bit more because we had a lot of Midwest folks from like Wisconsin and the surrounding states around here. So we just decided to change the name, and just a lot of interaction and camaraderie within the group. And, doing contests and giveaways obviously helps with the interaction. And anytime somebody comments within the group, more people see it. So it's just been crazy how fast it's grown over the years. And now we're up to 7,200 plus members.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Never thought we'd be that high, not even close. But yeah, and we could have a lot more than that even, but we're pretty stingent on who we accept into the group because we started getting so many people that were just kind of group jumpers or even potential spammers. So we now have everybody that wants to join in has to answer 3 questions before they can get in. And we actually deny quite a people because we don't want just anyone coming in. We want somebody that's involved with the hobby or interested to be joining us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming hunt that y'all have going?
Yeah. It's at a scout camp near Central City, Iowa. We actually held the same event last year at the same location. This location last year went so well with the scout director and everything that he gave us permission to now kind of have the main part of the camp instead of just the lower end. So we're going to have a little bit more space to move around, which allowed us to allow more folks to come to the hunt. So we're looking at about, when you count the admin and volunteers, we're right around 185 people. And then you throw in all the kiddos, we're going to probably have about 30 to 40 kids as well that'll be there. So well over 200 people. It's always a good time getting to meet everybody that's in the group face to face. And put a name to the face, or face to the name, I should say. And because some folks are coming clear from, we have a family actually, the Zangles coming from the state of New York. They're flying.
Oh wow!
To come to the hunt, which is really cool. And then we have John Quinn, who's the opposite side of the U.S. over in the state of Washington. He came last year, and he's making the flight as well this year to join again. So pretty crazy. 12 different states, I think, roughly will be represented, and should be a good time again.
How many years has this been going on?
We're going into our just our 4th year. We've had 5 total hunts when you count one fall hunt. So this will be our 4th spring hunt.
And I know a bunch of XP Team USA members are going, including Sonia Harshman, David DiNatale, R.C. Dunn, and David Kimball. You are actually going to go to this hunt as well. I imagine you're looking forward to get out there and have a good time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. I haven't been up that way, so it'll be fun to come out there and check it out and see what I can find, and maybe even do some hunting on the way there and the way back. Hopefully it'll be a really good time. We'll have a XP Team USA will have a booth out there also, and we'll be representing XP, and our David DiNatale will be working the booth along with us, and we'll have a Deus and an ORX out there for people to try if they want to see what they think of the machine. And I believe we'll have also 20 tokens that are going to be buried out there, and if people find them tokens, they bring them back to us and get entered into a contest to win a ORX. And we'll also be giving away an MI6, and we'll be having hats and shirts to giving away, stickers and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it'll be a great time.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And yeah, I wish I could be there. Casey, so can you explain, there's a few different types of hunts going on, right? You've got an open hunt, a seated hunt, and a night pinpointer hunt. Can you explain the differences between those?
Yeah, absolutely. So to start out the day, once folks get registered around 7:30 a.m., of course, people start showing hours. It seems like hours before the registration, but once they get registered, they're free to go within the camp to see what they can find as far as wild finds or wild silver. Last year, they found it had to have been close to 100 silver between everybody that made it there. And that was all just the wild silver, not to mention everything else. So, and during that open hunt, we are going to, like in years past, we're going to bury roughly 12 1-ounce copper rounds that are individually numbered. And if whoever finds those brings it back to the table, and we'll have caches that they will win. And so each cache will be roughly about $40 to $50 worth of silver and other prizes. Yeah. And one of the caches will probably do an actual detector. If they find a certain token, they'll get a detector. So that's the open hunt. Of course, we have the kids hunt. This year we're doing a little bit different. We're going to have 2 separate kids hunt, one for the younger kids and then another one for the kids about ages 9 to 16. That way those little kiddos can get out there and not get trampled by the big ones. But we're going to have roughly, I would say if I had to guess, we're probably going to have about 10 brand new detectors that will be given away just to the kids. So we're excited about that. We've done that in the last year too. We gave 8 to 10 of them away. And it's fun to just see the kids win the prizes and the detectors and get them involved in the hobby and outdoors.
Do you see the kids coming back each and every year? Do they get, is this the start of something that fuels the fire inside them?
Yeah, for sure. We've had, like Shirley Hampton-Coon brings her granddaughters, several granddaughters, and they just love it. Each year they come, they love it. They've been there they've been to every single one. And we have others that way too that have made it to, the majority of the hunt. They just get so excited every year that they look forward to coming. And like you said, it really fuels their fire and they become more and more interested in it because we literally give tons of stuff to the kids. There's just stuff scattered all over the grass, for them to find. So including old silver, barber dimes, barber halves, stuff like that too.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. See, I'm a president of a metal detecting club here called Central Oklahoma Metal Detecting Club, and we have seated hunts. And lately we've been getting a lot of kids that have been joining along with their parents. And I saw a picture that you posted of a bunch of the stuff that y'all be hiding for the kids, like a bunch of toy cars and a bunch of everything else. I thought that was really interesting. We might pick up on that and try that out.
Yeah, we like, anything that might put a smile on their face. It's fun getting the pictures of them with the big smiles and holding their treasure up, and stuff. So.
You said scattered all over the grass, so y'all just throw them all on top of the grass and let them run and grab them and find them with their detectors too? Or?
Yeah, right. A little of both. We scatter a lot of them on top, and then we'll bury roughly half maybe, just like an inch under. Same with the tokens for all the pinpointers and detectors and silver rounds and coin sets and all that other stuff. They'll probably have about 30 tokens out there floating around for those bigger prizes.
Yeah, I can see how that makes sense because especially the younger kids, trying to get them to dig or helping them to dig, that can sometimes be a challenge. So right on top of the surface is probably the way to go for a lot of them.
Right, yeah, exactly. And then they're not tearing up the ground and stuff for the camp.
Right. So can you remind us what are the dates of the dig and how can people sign up if they're interested?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention a couple other hunts too before we move on real quick.
Oh, sure.
With the main seated hunt is the one we have shortly after the raffle. In the raffle, we're going to probably have roughly, if you figure retail amount of prizes, probably around $10,000 retail amount of prizes that'll be given out. And then for the seated hunt, we bury roughly about $3,500 worth of silver coins out there and some other older like Indian head pennies and stuff too. And then there'll be also tokens out there for detectors and pinpointers floating out there too. So that's the main hunt that people get real excited about. And then the nighttime, like you mentioned, the nighttime pinpointer hunt is it's a blast. It's hysterical watching these guys. We wait till it's completely dark, and we kind of stole this one from the I&I Club. They brought it about, and I thought it was a great idea. We even tape over the little lights on the pinpointer so that there's literally no light whatsoever, and gather around in a big circle. And of course, we throw out all sorts of silver and different stuff out there, tokens, and everybody gets down on their hands and knees, and they look like little kids crawling around, and they bump into each other and everything else. So it's pretty comical.
That's pretty funny, and I bet they don't even know what they find until they get back to some light.
That's right. But yeah, the dates you were saying. It is the all-day event is May 11th, and right now, of course, it's sold out. Once we announced the actual hunt, it's sold out in less than 24 hours, all 170 spots. So it was pretty crazy. We didn't expect it to sell out that quick, but it is May 11th. We have a waiting list going of about a dozen people still, but you never know. There's cancellations, and we can always add more to the waiting list.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, couldn't believe it.
And y'all have a dinner thing going too?
Yeah, right. The Friday night, the May 10th, we rented out a big room at the Best Western Long Branch Hotel Convention Center. So it fits roughly 50 people, and we are getting food catered in there between like wings and appetizers and all sorts of stuff like that. We were just charging about $15 a person, and then the group is covering there's several $100s that it costs to put it on.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great event. Dave, make sure you get pictures and videos so that I can try to experience it from New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll do some live video while we're out there too.
That'd be great.
We're probably going to be doing some of the podcasts out there while we're out there as well, and interview a few people while we're out there.
Awesome.
So I got one final question for you.
Yeah.
I like to ask this for everybody. I don't only ask where would you want to go to Metal Tech, but I ask you had one choice to metal detect anywhere that's always been off limits to metal detecting in the U.S. Where would you go?
Oh, goodness. That is a tough one. Oh, boy. I would say really anywhere major Civil War battles took place that are off limits. I would just love to do that because I know digging up that type of history is just priceless, I guess you'd say. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would be amazing to get out in those battlefields. And I think, rightfully so, they're protected to preserve the history and the meaning of what went on. But I mean, could you imagine what's under there?
Right. I would just like to dig it up just to put it in a museum so people can enjoy it instead of rotting in the ground. But I understand that their point too.
Yeah, every battlefield should have its own museum there, and they should let us go and pull all that stuff up and put it in their museums,
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you've got a couple volunteers here for anyone who's listening who owns a national park and wants a museum. We'll kind of help you recover those relics.
Yeah, that's right. And if you don't mind, I'd like to give a couple shout outs for some people that have been helping me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. First, definitely want to thank Chris Detbarn. He's the one that got us permission at the scout camp, and he did it last year as well too. So we always try to find sites that people will have a good shot at finding some really good true finds instead of just a public park that gets hammered and full of trash. So he's been able to help us out getting that permission the last couple of years. And then, of course, got to thank my wife. She allows me to spend so much time running the group and contests and playing in the group hunt, and all that stuff, and puts up with it. So I got to thank her. She might be mad at me if I don't. And then, of course, the admin of the Detecting the Heartland spend quite a bit of time, helping me out running the group and keeping it clean and family friendly. And, Ray Sawyer is super interactive and helps out a lot. And then Kelly and Roger and everybody else. And Jeff. Just want to thank all those guys, too, for helping me out with everything.
Well, it sounds like you got a great team and a great event going on. I wish you luck in May and continued success for the years to come.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming to the hunt and providing the stuff you're bringing. And we look forward to seeing all you guys there, too.
Yeah. Look forward to it. It was great talking to you, and like to have you back on maybe after the hunt, too, or maybe even at the hunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be fantastic.
All right. Well, we'll see you then.
Thanks so much, Casey.
If you have a question for one of our guests or just like to make a comment, call us at our XP Team USA podcast hotline at 405-294-3602. This is Express News with Grant Hansen.
Hey everybody, this is Grant Hansen coming to you with a new edition of Express News. This first story comes to us just in time for Easter. Cadbury UK, the maker of those delicious Cadbury eggs that come around just once a year, they had a recent ad campaign that backfired and had to put an end to it. In the UK, they have something called the Cadbury Freddo. It's a line of treats which comes in a little treasure chest. So what better way to market it than to get kids excited about treasure hunting? According to Lexology.com, quote, the webpage advertising Cadbury Freddo treasures encouraged children to, quote, grab a metal detector and hunt for relics at a number of archaeological sites in England, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland where, quote, treasure is fair game. It might have been an innocent attempt at capturing the hearts of wannabe Indiana Joneses, but as the Institute of Art and Law points out, it was dangerously ill-informed, end quote. As we all know, you can't just go anywhere and detect. You need permission, and many sites are protected and restricted. Cadbury actually listed specific properties on its website, some of which are protected under the Ancient Monuments and Archaeological Areas Act of 1979. So understandably, Cadbury received a lot of negative criticism from the archaeological community and therefore removed the webpage. Hey, so long as they don't discontinue their Cadbury cream eggs, I will be very happy this Easter. This next story is about a man who did well without a metal detector. Robert Felsey from Cornwall found a 17th century grenade that was from the Skedum, a ship overtaken by pirates and then later sank to the bottom of the ocean in a storm in 1684. In fact, it's the third grenade like this he's found. Recently, unusually low tides exposed the grenade, and knowing about the tide, Felsey decided to explore. According to Yahoo.com, quote, after more than 330 years in the sea, the grenade was embedded inside an encrusted mass of sediment and pebbles, which are attracted to metal objects in seawater, end quote. You know, I go sea glass hunting along the Hudson River from time to time, and you always have to time it with low tide, but I've never found something this cool. Maybe I will one day. So finally, I just want to close Express News this week with talking about the XP Deus USA website. We've got a lot of good things on there if you haven't checked this out lately. We've got some blogs by Josh Kimmel, XP, Deborah McKinney. I've got some blogs on there, David Kimball, a bunch of others. So check it out. There's some really good content on there. We've also got links to ORX updates and Deus 5.2 updates, links to our podcast, which you're listening to now, and thank you for that. It's just some great things, and check out our YouTube channel. We've got a new feature video discovering the Lost Town. Really check that out. It's an amazing story and very educational. So with that, I'm going to close this edition of Express News and send it back to our podcast.
XP Metal Detectors now introduces the new X35 search coils. Designed around a brand new electronic advances, these new high-performance and versatile coils will allow you to choose from a wide range of frequencies, ranging from 3.7 kHz to 27.7 kHz. In total, there are 35 available frequencies based around 5 main frequencies that are quickly accessible. A new boost mode is now an option on frequencies 3.7 kHz to 4.4 kHz and can significantly increase detection depth on highly conductive targets such as large masses and large silver coins. The new X35 search coils will now be available as option as the same price as the previous coils, and also now will be standard with the brand new Deus. So get your X35 today.
All right. Well, that was Express News with Grant Hansen. Great job, Grant.
Thanks. I hope everybody enjoys hearing news from around the world. I certainly enjoy digging it up and reporting it out. So, okay, we're going to move on to our next question for the Omega Mills Relic Elite Pro pouch. This is again going to point you to our most recent YouTube video, discovering an old lost mine. So here's the question. Gary Blackwell gives a tip on how to eliminate nails when searching for deep targets. What is that tip that he gives? So reminder to enter, just send us a PM on our XP Team USA news page, or just send one directly to me or Dave to enter. Good luck.
All right. Yes. Good luck. And thanks to Brian Harvey with Digger's Den, we are now going to announce the winner of the coil giveaway. This is a coil of your choice. A lot of people went on our Facebook group page and told us what coils they wanted after following our podcast, and we all did a great job because we're over 100 now, and we've been around for about 6 months now. We are on episode number 12. Pretty excited about that. So you want to let them know who the winner is, Grant?
Sure. We had a lot of entrants, and congratulations to Mr. Chuck Fisher from Greensboro, North Carolina. You have won the XP coil of your choice.
All right.
Congrats.
Congratulations. That's great.
So we'll announce this on our Facebook page and give you instructions on how to contact Brian and collect your coil.
All right. Yeah. And send us a PM message and let us know that you got this. We will get it out to Brian Harvey. And thanks again for Brian Harvey for sponsoring this giveaway. And it looked like Chuck Fisher wanted the 11-inch X35. Great choice.
Yeah, that's a fantastic choice. I'm sure he's going to be very, very happy with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all we got for today, and we will be back in 2 weeks with Dean Ricker. Dean Ricker is the guy who makes the dust covers that go over your remote on your Deus and the ORX, and he makes some for other machines as well. We'll be talking with him, and he'll do a couple of giveaways also. And also, go check out Beyond Sight and Sound with Josh Kimmel. It's a great podcast with a lot of good information, and that one's a live podcast, and they got a very good active chat going along with the podcast as well.
Yeah, they've got a very active chat channel, and it's always fun sitting in. Beyond Sight and Sound airs every Sunday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you check that out.
Yeah, and also check out the GDA podcast with Lance Goolsby. That's also a great podcast.
Yeah, very, very entertaining.
All right, well, our next show will be April 19th, and we will see everybody then.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you listening.
See ya.
Get that permission, put the coil to the soil, and we'll see you next time right here on the XP Team USA podcast.